Your dog has been showing you something every single day, and you've been reading it completely wrong. Not because you don't care, you do deeply, which is exactly why this matters, but because the signals your dog sends when they are stressed look almost nothing like what stress is supposed to look like. They don't whimper, they don't cower in corners, they yawn, they look away, they lick their lips, they sit very, very still. And while you're interpreting those things as calm, as contentment, as a dog who is fine, your dog's cortisol levels, that's the stress hormone, are elevated, their heart rate is up, and they are doing the only things they know how to do to manage a situation they cannot escape. The worst part is that the situation causing it is often you. Not because you're a bad owner, because you're a human, and humans and dogs are wired so differently that the things we do out of love can land on a dog like pressure, like confusion, like threat. By the time you finish watching this, you will see your dog differently. You will recognize things you've been missing. And some of what you see will be uncomfortable, but that discomfort is the beginning of something better for both of you. Welcome to Dog Mind Unlocked. If you love your dog and want to truly understand what's happening inside them, subscribe right now. We are here every week translating the science of dogs into something you can actually use. Let's get into it. 1. Your dog yawns when nothing is wrong, and you think it means they're sleepy or relaxed. It almost never means that. Yawning in dogs is one of the most well-documented stress signals in canine behavioral science, first catalogued in depth by Norwegian dog trainer and behaviorist Turid Rugaas, whose research on what she termed calming signals has since been supported and expanded by ethologists worldwide. A 2016 study published in the journal Animal Cognition found that dogs yawn significantly more frequently in response to human yawning when the human is someone familiar to them, a finding that initially seemed to demonstrate empathy, but which also revealed just how attuned dogs are to human emotional states and how quickly that attunement triggers their own stress management behaviors. When your dog is in a situation that feels uncertain, when your voice is tense, when strangers are present, when children are moving unpredictably, when you are in an argument with someone in the same room, your dog yawns. It is not boredom, it is not sleepiness. It is a self-soothing behavior and a social signal simultaneously, a way of saying to everyone in the environment, I am not a threat, please calm down, I am trying to keep this situation safe. You've seen it 100 times and called it cute. It is your dog working. And the reason this matters is that what comes next on this list is even less visible and significantly more important. 2. Your dog looks away from you and you think they're being stubborn or distracted. You've probably tried to make eye contact, maybe even held their face gently to get them to look at you, and when they kept averting their gaze, you felt a flicker of frustration. Here is what was actually happening. Gaze aversion is one of the oldest and most universal stress signals in canine body language, rooted in the evolutionary biology of pack dynamics. Direct, sustained eye contact is a dominant signal and a threat signal in dog social communication. When your dog looks away from you, they are doing something sophisticated and intentional. They are de-escalating. They are communicating to you, in the clearest way they know how, that they want the pressure of the current moment to decrease. A study published in Learning and Behavior found that dogs show measurably higher cortisol responses when subjected to direct, prolonged human staring, compared to interactions that allowed for natural gaze patterns. When you hold your dog's face and try to force eye contact during a moment of tension, you are, from your dog's neurological perspective, escalating a confrontation. The dog who keeps turning away from you is not being defiant. They are asking you as clearly as they can to please stop. The behaviors we interpret as stubbornness in dogs are almost always the opposite. They are communication. And if this is making you think differently about those small daily moments, stay with me, because the next sign is one that almost every dog owner has witnessed, and almost none have correctly identified. 3. Your dog licks their lips when there is no food in sight, and you've probably never thought twice about it. You should. Lip licking and tongue flicking, a quick dart of the tongue across the nose or the front of the muzzle, is one of the stress signals most frequently missed by owners, precisely because it is so brief and so ordinary looking. Research from the University of Sao Paulo, published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior, analyzed video footage of dogs in veterinary waiting rooms and during owner interactions, and found that lip licking occurred at dramatically elevated rates during moments of social pressure, proximity with strangers, or unpredictable handling, situations the dogs had no means to escape. The lip lick is what happens in the half-second before a dog decides whether they can manage a situation or whether it is becoming too much. It is the nervous system making a calculation. It is the dog at the edge of their threshold. The reason this matters so much is that the lip lick often appears in sequences: yawn, look away, lip lick. And that sequence, if you know how to read it, is your dog giving you a complete sentence. They are saying, "I am not comfortable. I am trying to communicate that. I am still choosing to stay calm, but I need something to change." Most owners never learn to read that sentence, and so the dog eventually stops offering the signals and goes directly to the behavior the owner finally notices: the growl, the snap. And then the owner says the dog gave no warning. The dog gave every warning. You just didn't know the language yet. Keep watching, because the next sign is one that will challenge something you believe is a sign of affection. 4. Your dog freezes. Not dramatically, not the full-body, wide-eyed freeze you imagine when you think of a frightened animal. A subtle one. A stillness that descends over them like a weight when you lean over them, when a child runs toward them, when a stranger reaches for their head. You might have seen it and thought, "Good dog, staying calm." You may have praised it. The freeze in dogs is one of the most misread signals in canine behavioral science, and the consequences of misreading it are serious. Researchers at the University of Lincoln's Animal Behavior, Cognition and Welfare Group have studied the tonic immobility response in dogs and found that freezing is not a neutral state. It is an active stress response, part of the same threat management circuitry that produces fight or flight, triggered when the dog assesses that neither fighting nor fleeing is available to them. A dog who freezes has made a calculation. I cannot escape this. I cannot challenge this. So I will become as small and still as possible and wait. The still dog is not the safe dog. The still dog is the dog who is at or past their threshold and has run out of options. This is the moment in the escalation sequence that immediately precedes a bite. Every study of canine aggression cases that has retrospectively analysed the behavioural history finds the same pattern. A dog who bit gave progressive signals: yawning, lip licking, gaze aversion, freezing, and those signals were missed or suppressed. When you tell a child, "It's okay, he's not moving," that means he's fine. You are reading the situation backwards. And if that's making you reconsider something that happened recently with your dog, hold on to that, because the next sign is one you are almost certainly causing without knowing it. And it starts with something you do every single time you come home. 5. Your dog goes wild when you come home. And you love it. You encourage it. You think it means they missed you, which they did. But the intensity of what you're seeing is not just happiness. It is also anxiety completing a cycle. This is one of the most important and most misunderstood dynamics in the owner-dog relationship. Research published in Applied Animal Behavior Science examined dogs' physiological responses during owner absence and return, and found that many dogs who showed highly exuberant greeting behaviors also showed cortisol elevations that began well before the owner returned, triggered by environmental cues like the owner's schedule, sounds outside, changes in light, and that the frantic greeting was, in part, the discharge of sustained stress arousal, not simply an expression of joy. The two things can coexist. Your dog is genuinely glad you are home. Your dog has also been experiencing low-grade anxiety in your absence, and the explosion of behavior at the door is the nervous system releasing what it has been holding. When you match that energy, when you come in at the same pitch, talking excitedly, getting down on the floor, ramping the interaction higher, you are reinforcing the anxiety cycle, not just the happiness. What behavioral researchers recommend instead is the thing that feels cold when you first hear it. Come home calmly. Wait for the dog to settle before giving attention. Let the nervous system land before you engage it further. Not because your dog's joy is wrong, because your dog's nervous system needs you to be the stable one. The next sign is quieter than everything that came before it, and it may be the one most deeply connected to something you do every single day. 6. Your dog is calm in their crate or in one specific corner of the house, and you think that means they feel safe there. Sometimes that's true, but sometimes, and this is the distinction that changes everything, what you're reading as calm is actually shut down. Learned helplessness in dogs is a documented phenomenon with a direct lineage to the foundational research of psychologist Martin Seligman, whose work on inescapable stress responses was later applied extensively to animal behavior science. A dog experiencing shutdown has learned that their signals do not produce change, that their communication does not affect their environment, and so they have stopped communicating. They lie still. They stop seeking interaction. They stop reacting to stimuli that would normally engage them. Owners often describe these dogs as easy or low maintenance. Veterinary behaviorists describe them as depressed. A 2020 study in Frontiers in Veterinary Science found that dogs in environments with low environmental enrichment, low social responsiveness from owners, and high levels of unpredictable stressors showed behavioral profiles consistent with chronic stress and helplessness, flat affect, reduced exploratory behavior, reduced play initiation. The dog in the corner who doesn't bother you is not always the dog who is okay. Sometimes they are the dog who has given up on telling you they're not. And that truth is one of the hardest ones in this entire video. Stay with me for one more, because the final sign is the one that ties every other sign together, and it will change the way you understand every interaction you have ever had with your dog. 7. Your dog leans on you, presses against your legs, follows you from room to room and sits with their body in contact with yours. You have always read this as love, as preference, as your dog choosing you. That reading is not wrong, but there is a second layer underneath it that the science reveals, and when you see it, you will understand something profound about what your relationship with your dog actually is. Research from Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest, one of the leading institutions in canine cognition science, has demonstrated that dogs use their owners as what attachment theorists call a secure base, a concept borrowed directly from human developmental psychology, in the same way that a toddler who feels anxious will physically return to a trusted caregiver before venturing back out into an uncertain environment. A stressed dog seeks physical proximity and contact with their person as a regulatory mechanism. The contact is not just affection, it is co-regulation. Your dog's nervous system uses yours to calibrate. When they press against you, they are, at a neurological level, borrowing your calm. A study published in Physiology and Behavior found that physical contact between dogs and their owners produced measurable oxytocin increases. That's the bonding hormone, in both species simultaneously, and that dogs who had access to their owners during mild stressors showed significantly lower cortisol responses than dogs who did not. Your dog leaning on you is not simply them loving you, though it is that. It is them healing in real time. It is them using the most sophisticated emotional resource available to them, which is you, to process a world that is frequently overwhelming for an animal with a nervous system as sensitive as theirs. This is where the loop that opened at the beginning of this video closes. You came in thinking stress in dogs looked like cowering, like whimpering, like dramatic, visible fear. What you now know is that it looks like a yawn in the middle of a crowded room. It looks like your dog turning their head away when you hold their gaze too long. It looks like a flicker of a tongue across a nose, and a stillness that descends like weather, and an explosion at the front door, and a dog in a corner who stopped asking. Every one of those moments was your dog communicating in the only language they have. The question was never whether they were telling you. The question was whether you knew how to listen. Now you do. And the next time your dog yawns when nothing seems wrong, the next time they press against your legs at the end of a long day, you will know what they are doing. They are trusting you with their nervous system. They are telling you everything. That trust is not a small thing. That trust is the whole thing. If this video changed the way you see your dog, share it with someone who loves their dog and deserves to know this. Subscribe to Dog Mind Unlocked. We are here every week helping you understand the animal that chose to spend their one life with you.